feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it take a swim, only option is to win.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the post-show wrap-up of our Shrimp Tank podcast. I'm Rich Jensen, your host, along with my co-host David Sims. We just finished a great conversation with Brandon Haubert of Wilson and Haubert Law Firm. Learned all sorts of great insights, some new things I didn't know about the law practice. And in general, I think you'll definitely want to go to arkansas.shrimptankpodcast.com and listen to the entire podcast. If you have a chance, go ahead and download it. You can listen to it in your car by downloading it off of iTunes. David, you have a question for Brandon, I think, based on the podcast.
Yeah,
right?
It was a great show. It's great to have you on, Brandon. You know, you had a unique opportunity. You talked about this on the podcast, but you had a unique opportunity coming out of law school to go into partnership, straight into private practice and partnership on your own with Dennis Wilson, who'd been practicing 20-something years at that time. Talk about that.
Well, I got out of law school, and he offered me a job where he offered me the option to put my name on the wall and not make any money except, the traditional eat what you kill. And so I started being broke and started killing. And it was nice because, I had no money and plenty of time, so I got to learn, search engine optimization. Got to learn. I had built our first website because, of course, no money, plenty of time. Learned all about how Google works and tried to, put policies in place to drive traffic to that, which has been great because the ROR on our website is astronomical at this point, and it's been worth every penny so far.
I'm sure that's part of the reason Dennis said, hey, come and join.
Yeah,
Get someone who knew technology.
Exactly. He saw what the opportunity was, with you coming on board, I think, for sure, with the technological savvy that you have.
Yeah, I hope so. It was interesting working with him as a law clerk because it was a very different take at that time.
Was that kind of like how you were able to grow this thing organically? You had the law clerk experience. You saw, wow, there are so many things on the technological side that we could use to significant advantage in the law practice. Did that give you an opportunity to see that opportunity?
I think it kind of did, and also I think just lawyers as a whole, they don't use technology very well. And I don't even know if I was thinking about technology. I was just kind of thinking about, let's make this better. And it just so happens that traditionally that helps with technology.
Brandon, I learned something that I never knew before when our millennial producer, Gordon, asked you about when is it, the right time to come and see an attorney. And you shared with us something, once you get married in Arkansas, if you pass away, there's some different ramifications that people don't know about.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that if you are married and you don't have any children, you must be married for 3 years for your spouse to inherit 100% of your estate. If you have been married less than 3 years, your parents inherit 50% and your spouse inherits 50%. And that's just one instance.
Is that if you don't have a will?
Yes, that's
you
if
can
you don't
override
have
it with a will, though.
Absolutely.
Right?
Okay. If you have a will that names your spouse as your sole heir, then your spouse will get everything. You can. Another issue that a lot of people don't realize is like when they send their kids off to college, their kid is no longer their child because the kid's 18, and so they may need some healthcare powers of attorney or powers of attorney. For instance, I was in a car wreck when I was 24, and the doctor was asking for informed consent to perform surgery on me, but he would not tell my father what was wrong with me because there was no healthcare power of attorney in place. And so
your
it was a HIPAA
dad's saying yes or no to surgery, but he doesn't know what the surgery is really for.
right, or he doesn't know what's going on. So that was.
And it was a pretty bad wreck. I mean,
Yeah.
you needed the surgery.
Well, actually, they hem and hawed, and they ended up not doing it. And
Are you kidding?
And it was good because
it was good.
yeah, it was better that way. But yeah, I was in ICU for a couple weeks, so it was a pretty bad car wreck.
Wow.
But anyway, it was just funny that you don't think about
Probably,
those things.
truth be told, your dad probably saying, well, is it going to cost me anything?
No, his dad knew I get to inherit half of it because he doesn't have a will.
Oh, wait. Could you go ask him if he has his estate plan in place? So there's another thing on the show that was really good, and you were talking about starting the practice and how you've used technology to really make it a better experience for your client. Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, one thing that's always, one reason I wanted to go into business as a lawyer is because lawyers are, and professionals in general, are pretty bad about technology and bad about doing the same way that they've been doing it for 20 years. So we allow clients to fill out forms online, to electronically sign our fee agreements, to pay online, via credit card. Because basically the thing we want to do is eliminate the barriers to becoming a client, and also use technology to do some of the work for us so we can spend more time with the client, spend more time on the case, and less time on some administrative tasks that can be easily dealt with technology.
Right. And even on the podcast, you talked about how the client can input that data from a intake form, and that data can populate legal forms, go directly into it syncs up perfectly with your other software.
Yeah, that's our intake form syncs with our case management software, and our case management software can then generate some documents for, which then that saves us time, saves them money.
Yeah.
It's good for everybody.
That's really
Well,
great
there were
innovation.
all sorts of other great tidbits we picked up from Brandon. You'll definitely want to listen to the entire podcast at arkansas.shrimptankpodcast.com. Brandon, if someone wanted to get a hold of you or contact Wilson and Haubert, how would they do that? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Our main phone line is 501-372-1212. Website is whlawoffices.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And you guys cover a lot of fields of law, too. You talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, we do estate planning, elder law, Medicaid planning, probate, bankruptcy, criminal, family law, adoptions. Each we can't say specialize, but each lawyer has their practice area that they try to stick in so that they can focus and be good at that.
Well, that's it for our post-show wrap-up. Again, be sure to listen to the entire podcast at arkansas.shrimptankpodcast.com. You can also go to our YouTube channel to see all of our post-show video wrap-ups like this one. Next week, be sure to tune in because we'll have Ken Clark of Chenal Family Counseling, is it, David?
Chenal Family Therapy. Yeah,
Chenal
he's a
Family
very
Therapy.
unique mental health entrepreneur here in Little Rock.
You'll definitely want to hear it. So until next week, have a great week.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big